Everyone, I am R.Bhuyan. In my previous videos, I have discussed the question answers for 1 mark and for 2 mark of the poem Ozamandias of Egypt. Now in this poem, I am going to discuss the question answers for 3 marks. What is the message that the poet wants to convey in the poem? This question came in the year 2019 and it is also the summary of the poem. The message that the poet wants to convey in the poem is that time spares none. The poet tells us about a king named Ozymandias. He was a very proud, cruel, and tyrant king. He was boastful of his work and possessions. He erected a statue of himself and wrote on the pedestal, calling the other kings to look at his works and aspire. This should be work, WORKS. But the statue of King Ozymandias now lay in ruins. Two vast trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them was a half-sunk, shattered visage meaning face. This symbolizes the ravages of time. Nothing can stand time and its power. The inscriptions on the pedestal reminds us of man's hollow pride and futility. What else remains there besides the broken statue? What does it signify? Nothing remained beside the broken statue of King Ozymandias. The travelers saw two huge and trunkless legs standing on the pedestal. Near them was a half-sunk, shattered visage. Beside the broken statue of the king, only the vast sand stretches as far as the traveler could see. It signifies that time spares none. The poet tells us about a king named Ozymandias. He was a very proud, cruel, and tyrant king. He was boastful of his works and possessions. He erected a statue of himself and wrote on the pedestal, calling the other kings to look at his works and aspire. But the statue of King Ozymandias now lay in ruins. Two vast trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them was a half-sunk, shattered visage. This symbolizes the ravages of time. Nothing can stand time and its power. This inscription on the pedestal reminds us of man's hollow pride and futility. How skilled is this sculptor in his art? The sculptor was so skilled that he could catch each and every inscription of Ozymandias and inscribe them in the statue. One can get the idea of what kind of king Ozymandias was by simply having a glance at the statue. The greatness of the sculptor who made the statue of King Ozymandias is actually glorified in the poem. What does the word on the pedestal of the statue implies? This question came in the year 2016. The message that the poet wants to convey through the word inscribed on the pedestal is that time spares none. The poet tells us about a king named Ozymandias. He was a very proud, cruel, and tyrant king. He was boastful of his works and possessions. He erected a statue of himself and wrote on the pedestal, calling the other kings to look at his works and aspire. But the statue of King Ozymandias now lay in ruins. Two vast trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them was a half-sunk, shattered visage. This symbolizes the ravages of time. Nothing can stand time and its power. The inscription on the pedestal reminds us of man's hollow pride and futility. Thus shall I glorify the greatness of the king? This is also an important question. No, Saleh does not glorify the greatness of the king. Rather, he mocks the king for his boastful nature and pride. The poet tells us about the king named Ozymandias. He was a very proud, cruel, and tyrant king. He was boastful of his works and possessions. He erected a statue of himself and wrote on the pedestal, calling the other kings to look at his works and aspire. But the statue of the king Ozymandias now lay in ruins. Two vast trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them was a half-sunk, shattered visage. This symbolizes the ravages of time. Nothing can stand time and its power. The inscription on the pedestal reminds us of man's hollow pride and futility. What is the central idea of the poem Ozymandias of Egypt? This is also one of the most important questions from this poem Ozymandias of Egypt. The central idea that Shelley wants to convey through the poem is that time spares none. The poet tells us about the king named Ozymandias. He was very proud, cruel, and tyrant king. He was boastful of his work and possessions. He erected a statue of himself and wrote on a pedestal, calling the other kings to look on his works and aspire. But the statue of King Ozymandias now lay in ruins. Two vast trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them was a half-sunk, shattered visage. This symbolizes the ravages of time. Nothing can stand time and its power. The inscription on the pedestal reminds us of man's whole pride and futility. So these are the question answers from this poem Ozymandias of Egypt. Thank you everyone. Best wishes to all of you. Go through the poem line by line because every line of this poem is very important. Good luck to all of you.